Winter is coming for Joe Jonas and Sophie Turner as they head towards a nasty international legal battle over both divorce and child custody. This is an extraordinarily complex situation, complex issue, and most media outlets are failing to handle it properly. So today, we're going to dive into the actual legal document filed by Sophie Turner, the actual petition that has a request for them to get those kids back to England from the United States, where they're currently at with Joe Jonas, where he has filed a divorce in Miami, Florida. They're trying to get those kids back to England. So we're going to get into that today here on Legal Mindset and break down the actual law with the only channel out there on the internet so far that I'm going to say it's going to jump right into the complaint itself. Not just speculation, not just the articles, but the actual legal document. We have that today. We're going to be going through that and showing you exactly how Sophie may not have an easy time getting custody of those kids. And in fact, case precedent may show that they end up with Joe Jonas. So let's get started here today. So obviously the basic fact is that Joe Jonas and Sophie Turner are splitting up. Now their divorce case was filed in Miami, Florida. The couple previously had a house in Miami, Florida. They did sell that house recently, but they spent significant time there. The kids spent significant time there. And because of that, there's ample grounds for filing in Florida, for filing for divorce in Florida. In addition, Sophie Turner turned around and filed in Manhattan for the kids to be brought back to England. And that is the document they're going to be looking at today. What we're going to be looking at is this document to bring the kids back to England. Now, for those that don't know, there are obviously major issues between Joe Jonas and Sophie Turner. Sophie Turner herself has said she wanted to party. She wanted to go out and drink, just have fun with her friends, go out. She felt like she isn't ready for mom life. She's getting FOMO. She wants to go back to just having fun with her friends and doing shots all night rather than parenting. But yet at the same time, she's trying to strip those kids away from Jonas as he works in America. So let's get into the actual document here today, which is the actual legal document filed in the Southern District of New York. So here it is, Sophie Belinda Turner, very strong middle name. I never knew her middle name was Belinda, of 2 Elizabeth Close, London, in jolly old England in the United Kingdom, against Joseph Adam Jonas, aka Joe Jonas, who lives on Mott Street in New York, New York, and he is the respondent. So she's filing against him, and she's filing in New York because he's in New York currently. So that's where she is filing this. Is a verified petition for return of the child to England under the Hague Convention, the Convention on Civil Aspects of International Child Abduction. Now, this is a very specific convention. I think that don't let the name mislead you about child abduction. This actually deals with issues involving marriage, issues involving couples when they have a dispute about custody, because that is a complicated issue. And if you're in another country, to try to fight that is more complicated, right? And convention law, when you look at laws under international conventions, it's really weird. It's on a different level. Treaty law is on a different level than like a statute. It kind of is something that kind of supersedes individual state statutes. So that's a separate area of law, and you have to understand what's going on in this aspect of international law. Luckily, I have looked into this. I have talked about this in some other channels in a minor respect, so I actually have knowledge on this issue. So she wants the kids back in England. So let's go through this complaint. I'm not going to read all of it, but I'm going to skim the relevant facts. So this is a result of the detention or retention of 2 children, WRJ, born in 2020, and DMJ, born in 2022. So these are obviously fairly young children. Their names are acronyms because they are minors, and therefore they need to be acronyms. So I'm just going to refer to them as the kids. They're both the Jonas kids, right? It's the Jonas kids. They are in New York City. So right now they are residing in New York City. That is undeniable. So they're saying that this retention began on or about September 20th, 2023. Why did she say that date? Because that's the day she filed it. And until you file it, it's not a wrongful detention. It's just a parent holding a child. So until today, she couldn't claim this. Obviously, these treaties were ratified. It was ratified in the 80s, so these are valid law. Now, the law under this, to be clear, the law under the convention, it really doesn't just look at returning them to the place where they're born, right? So if you are born in Zimbabwe and you've got a mom from Zimbabwe and you're from Argentina, right? It doesn't dictate that just because the kids were born in Zimbabwe, now you live in Argentina, you split up, the Zimbabwe mom wants them back. It doesn't look just at where the nationality was or even where the kids were born. What it actually examines is where they have been habitually residing. So let me say that one more time. The law, the legal binding effect here is the habitual residence. Where have they been residing? And this doesn't just look at simply where they're living now, but where's been the pattern? Where are they working? Where are the parents working? Where have they been working? Where have they been living? And it looks at the majority of the time. And this is a test that may come up to bite Sophie Turner. Let's look at some of the facts that Sophie tries to bring here. So the mother was born in England, right? And she is 27 years old. She's a citizen of the UK. She grew up, she went to English schools, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, she has a family in England. Look at the facts. So and I want to give this fact. They give all these facts about England and how she lives in England. She grew up there. Her family is in England and they're supportive, whatever. That's all there. She gives one line on the father. The father was born in Arizona and is 34 years old. Not anything about the father's family, not anything about the father's support network, anything else, but 3 lines to 1, right? So the father is an American. So on this standing, just if you're going based on nationality, there's equal pulls in America and equal pulls in England. There's many cases like this in international law. In fact, the fundamental case of Chafin versus Chafin, which dealt with a very similar situation with child custody, ultimately ended up awarding it to the United States, saying, nope, the United States courts, they have jurisdiction, they have the ability to rule on this, and saying, hey, look, we're going to keep these kids in the US. Many cases based on that precedent say, no, we end up keeping them in the US. So just because she's filing from England, just because she's the woman or the mother, doesn't give her any strength over the father. The convention is neutral as to gender. So it doesn't think one gender is superior over another. In fact, it looks at, much like family law, best interest of this child in looking at the habitual residence. The thought there is that we want to make sure that the kids are uprooted from their friends, from their network, from their school, and sent into an entirely different country just because mom wants so, right? That's a big deal. So obviously they're both very successful in entertainment. The father is a member of the Jonas Brothers, the mom, Game of Thrones fame. They begin dating in 2016. The mom was age 20, the dad was 27. So they were dating since 2016. They became engaged 2017. They had a wedding in 2019. They went on celebrated in France in 2019. Good for them. They were born in 2020 in California. So they are a dual citizen of the United States and UK. The other daughter was born in Florida, dual citizen of the UK and the US. So their kids are dual citizens. They are dual citizens of both UK and US. So both countries have an equal claim to them. As a result of their careers, they were not committed to settling down. They were living a very peripatetic life, so nomadic, going from place to place, which, by the way, is still what they were doing to this date. So they moved to Miami. They never planned to live there for long. But here's the rub. Here's the rub. During their time in England, mother and father jointly decided they would look for their forever home in England, select a school for their daughter in England, and settle in England. I want to see proof of this in writing. I want to see proof of this in more than just Sophie Turner's words, right? And by the way, even if they made this promise, that is not what the law is based on. The law is based on where they were habitually residing. So we have to think real quick when we're looking at this. Where were they actually living? Not where did they promise to live, because you can promise to live on the moon. It doesn't matter. You could say, I would love to live in Bora Bora. If the kids were not in Bora Bora and living in Bora Bora, they were not habitually residing in Bora Bora. So when we turn to the actual facts, the actual schedule, which Sophie Turner herself provides as evidence of a nomadic life, let's look at this. Let's look at where they were perpetually residing. So these are all short periods of time, about a month at a time. Some of them are a couple weeks at a time. But let's look at this. New York, they lived for a month. Italy, they lived for a week, right? So 1 week. London for 1 week. So 2 weeks in Europe, a month. So more time already between A, B, and C, more time in New York. A month in New York, actually over a month in New York, right? A month in Miami. So 2 months in America, now 3 months in America to 2 weeks in Europe. You've got a couple days in London. So we'll call it between this, there was like kind of a week here in London. So now you got 3 weeks in England to 3 months in America. Another week in England. So they got 4 weeks in England. Now you've got another month, 5 months in America, right? You've got another month in America, 6 months in America, 7 months in America, 8 months in America, then about 9 months in America, 10 months in America. So you've got 10 months in America to your couple weeks in Europe. To me, if you're talking about a battle between countries as a whole, a battle between countries, they have been in America more than England. America is their place of habitual residence, not England. England as a country has very little grip here for returning. Sophie's own evidence shows that she fails this test. She claims that they, for example, relocated there in April. Says, for example, we'll show here, that they relocated in April. This is very recent, right? That they had medical and dental care. Okay? But on July, 2 months later, they left. And the kids went with them. So we still have a situation in her own complaint where they have been in America further. The kids have been in America for longer than they've been in England. And because of that, because they've been there for longer, and because the children are really the thing that's at stake here, the children are really the key crux of the analysis, this looks bad for Sophie Turner. It seems to me that based on these facts, Sophie Turner is likely to lose her attempt to bring these children to England under the International Convention, because it is not what she wants. It is not what Joe Jonas may have promised her at some point. It is the facts. And the facts at this point support America and not the UK. Guys, hit the like button. Make sure you're commenting on this video and subscribing, but like this video if you like it. Leave me a comment and I will catch you later.